we're a couple minutes away. We're a minute away from our official start point, where Mynoo's going to take us on a spectacular journey from moving from the spectacular results to extraordinary results. So for those of you who have not had this opportunity with her, you are in for a real treat. So I'm excited. Welcome, Linda. We've got a couple more people joining us here. Good to see everyone tonight. And I'm Catherine Peters. I'm your host, and I'm excited always to bring Mynoo Maryel front and center for our Thursday evening gatherings. So I will turn it over to you, Mynoo, and we should get started. Elaine is joining, Lisa's joining. They're just going to keep coming on in. I'll just man the back while you man the front.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everyone. I'm just
I'm going to mute.
There we go. So yes, the 9th commandment. This is, I know we keep saying that to many of the commandments, but this truly is such a favorite one of mine. Something that I have been engaged in, something that I've dreamt about from the time that I had that first sliver of my, spiritual awakening journey. And, I came from the corporate background, came from, a background of doing busyness. And I was quite masterful at winning the do race. I was really into the winning part. And from there, I went into a realm where being was really the doing that I engaged in. And because I was such a master at the doing race, when I learned about being, I decided to do being in an equally profound fashion, which was great because it really got me to understand that, the choice is always with us. We choose to be and then, allow ourselves to be that way, keeping our finger on the pulse of whether we are experiencing what we say we are going to be. And then doing just flows, because really, whether we like it or not, all of us have, a subconscious to-do thing going on anyway. So all we have to do is to consciously choose to have a be list instead. And I started operating in that way. And that gave rise to a wish, to a desire. And it became a rocket of desire that I let out into the universe. And of course, as many of you who have done my work here and the Journey to Miracle people, all of you know that the moment a rocket of desire goes up, the universe delivers it. It's delivered immediately, instantly. And then what takes the time for you to meet your desire is really dependent on you achieving a vibrational match. And I achieved the vibrational match, and I met the extraordinary results experience, and decided that really what I'm going to do as I emerge out of that extraordinary life that I had gotten into, if I am to catapult out of living that extraordinary life in the exquisiteness of Bali and land up in, Manhattan and London and Mumbai, it's 3 of the busiest places in the world, I'm actually going to do so to create a playground of extraordinary results. And that's what I started doing. So I was super excited when I received the 10 commandments, and one of the 10 commandments for our new world is a move from spectacular results to extraordinary results. Now, you will recall that these commandments are commandments which are the foundation pieces. They establish the foundation on which each one of us will build our life and will build all aspects of our life. So having this move from spectacular results, which is what trained me to master the doing race, and being so singularly focused on goals and just like that was what's going to happen. I learned about laser beam focus, and I would just like a pincer movement, have anything and everything I was doing be directed towards that. Moving from that to extraordinary results. And we're going to understand today what that is. What is extraordinary results? Extraordinary results gets me into a space of a dance. And it's the being doing dance that I briefly wrote about when I was sharing my wishes for this new year that has just begun for us here in India. So let's look at spectacular results, first of all. Spectacular results, you know, whilst it feels really great, it's very much a construct of the world order as we have known it, a world order that was foundationed on the foundation of command and control. And it wasn't intended that way. It was intended to be spectacular for everyone to experience the spectacularness. And, you know, somehow things shifted and people started focusing the attention on what was spectacular to them. And we lost sight of what impact it had on others and other living beings and our planet itself. Spectacular results focus in the way it was played out previously came from a very foundational mistake that we as humans got into, where we ignored our own worthiness and started compromising or started leveraging in a negative way in the self-interest of spectacular results. So we would not honor our own worthiness and we would change or adapt based on what others were expecting of us or what would have others see us differently. And all of that is a matter of choices, but really at the core of it, what was happening was we lost the connection to our own worthiness. We gave ourselves permission to operate in that way, stripping worthiness of others and of the planet itself. And lo and behold, we all experienced the phenomenon where, you know, a tree has value only once it is chopped and becomes an asset on a balance sheet as opposed to in the forest. So forests got chopped. And there was annihilation, there was violation, first of all, of one of the three things that we are born with, you know, putting us in a position where we all consciously or unconsciously or inadvertently became party to annihilation of our planet in quite a spectacular way. So a spectacular results playground is a playground where doing is a modus operandi. Goals are a motivator. And this session is not about spectacular results. So I'm not going to go into all aspects of it. But if we now turn our attention on this ninth commandment and look at extraordinary results. So that is the move that has been facilitated. Whether you like it or not, it is foundational. So, you know, it's up to you to do it consciously, and lo and behold, all of us here are going to learn how to do it consciously. And those who are not fully aware of it, they will start experiencing that there is something more to how results are to be planned and delivered. Because at a foundational level, something has shifted. That's what they will hear until they start becoming more aware of what has actually shifted. Extraordinary results. Extraordinary results has got three components. It is made up of unprecedented, so it's it's actually an intersection of two triangles. One triangle has got unprecedented performance, operational excellence, and transforming quality of life. And the other triangle, which intersects with it, forming a Merkaba-like sacred geometry structure, has got three components, which is for yourself, your stakeholders, and the planet itself. So when you think extraordinary results, you are thinking unprecedented performance for yourself, your stakeholders, and the planet. You're thinking operational excellence for yourself, your stakeholders, and the planet. You're thinking transforming quality of life for yourself, your stakeholders, and the planet. That's what this 9th commandment is talking about. Now, on the one hand, it would be quite nice to just not be bothered about the results stuff, because sometimes when people, and I know I went through that, when I made that switch from the corporate life to experiencing my spiritual journey for a period of time, it's like, I just want to get on with it. I just want to be, forget this result stuff. And it was fine for a period of time. Once I understood the extraordinary results piece, I recognized that even though I was just thinking that I was floating along, not really bothered about results, what will go, I'm in the flow type thing, I did have my finger on the pulse. And the pulse, and we have life as humans, and a life is where an organism is breathing and we are breathing out, and we have a pulse. So how we choose to live our life also has a pulse. So what if you consciously created what that pulse is? How much more enriching your life can be? And I came up with this question, how much better can it get? I think it was inspired by my dear friend JP, who came to visit me in Bali and then, stayed on for a long time. And she's in Australia right now. But I think she came up with this inspiration of how much better can it get? And then it was like, we're better than what? So I realized that, okay, given that results is going to play a part, it is there somewhere in my psyche, let me just get conscious about it. Now, at this point, I had already started living what I called as an extraordinary life, where all aspects of my life were coexisting, and I was firing on all cylinders. So I had that foundation there. So from there, it was like, okay, let's look at extraordinary results. And then I saw that it's made up of 3 pieces. Unprecedented performance. All feels so corporate. And yet when you then bring into it for yourself, your stakeholders, which includes your family, which includes your friends, which includes your community, as well as your investors, as well as your colleagues, it's very much in line with, what I had declared for myself as the next phase of my life, being living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life can coexist. And here I was noticing it play out even in something as hardcore and corporate-like results. So the first thing to get is in this extraordinary results space, you connect to yourself in such a way that you acknowledge what is it that you want to achieve in a way that makes you feel fulfilled for you, as opposed to something that you are accountable for someone else. That's the next piece. You go into the results for your stakeholders, but it literally puts you in center stage first. What results do you want to achieve for yourself? And by breaking it down into these three components, what is unprecedented performance that you want to achieve for you? And for me, at the time that I started doing this was living this extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, joy, and grace. That's what I wanted. That would be unprecedented performance for me, where I'm feeling that. You know, I'm in this state of yumminess ongoingly. And it was really powerful to just zoom in on me in the realm of extraordinary results. So my invitation to you would be, as you start preparing to stand tall on this foundation of extraordinary results, ask yourself, what is unprecedented performance for me? And, you know, here's something, especially in the context of performance, it was important for me when I did this, and I invite you to take that up as well for yourself, which is I knew that I had nailed it when I felt that yumminess in me. And there was no yuckiness that could be found. Then I knew, right, I got it. This is what unprecedented performance is for me. Then I went into, well, what is operational excellence? I mean, this is at a time where I've shaved my head, I've got flowers in my hair, wearing these wonderful Bali frocks and sarongs and stuff. And I'm talking about operational excellence. Well, operational excellence, for me, what did that mean? It meant that every single day I had me time. And I had certain practices that I implemented diligently. And I also came up with operational excellence practices. I didn't know that that would be foundational, and it is, where I looked at, you know, everywhere that I put my attention to, that I give any ounce of my resource to, it is able to regenerate itself. Took me many, many, many years to actually feel that I'm there. Operational excellence is what supported me to get that recovery time, you know, speeded up, restoration time speeded up. So if I ever went off track, how long it took me to come back into source was one of the measures that I tracked for operational excellence. And it was in the quest for operational excellence for me that I arrived at, I will know I'm in operational excellence when it feels like all days work and all days play. And then I applied the yummy yucky test. Gave myself the time to fine tune that. So I'm sharing how I did it for myself so that you can practically implement it for yourself. You know, I had the luxury of being in Bali, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to be somewhere where you're spending the whole day doing this. You can spread it across 7 days, across 14 days. You know, you just spend an hour defining each of these things. You know, you can say over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to get clear about these 3 things. The first week, my focus is on me. What does unprecedented performance mean for me? Take your time. You know, you can do it for 5 minutes, you can do it for 10 minutes, you can do it for an hour. Then you go into what does operational excellence mean for me? And you know, these things are not set in stone. You can change it depending on what has happened in your life. At the time that I was doing it, operational excellence, you know, was directed towards all days work, all days play. For me, it was all days work, and play took a lot of effort. For work to become play was incomprehensible. For play to be anything meaningful was, you know, unheard of for me at the time. Now I am in that realm, and I have been in that realm for a while. So operational excellence is quite different. And then you go into the quality of life. What does quality of life mean for me? When is that quality of life that I'm experiencing where I have complete yumminess? There is no yuckiness to be found anywhere in my field. What does that look like? Now that you may want to allow yourself to trust your hands with a pen on paper and allow that automatic writing to flow. And it will happen with everyone. I just, you know, when I began this journey, I'd stopped writing anything. So I just would use my iPhone and the notes section on my iPhone. And even there, the automatic writing happened. So don't get very attached to the how part, you know. Doesn't matter you don't have a paper. You can just voice record what's coming through. Now, the first step to each of these for yourself is just allowing whatever is the vision to come through. You know, I'm able to say to you that unprecedented performance for me was living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, joy, and grace. Now, that was a distillation of so much work that I wrote. When I engaged in this inquiry about what does unprecedented performance mean for me. And, you know, I gave myself the time to distill and say, okay, what's the unifying fact here? It is living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist with ease, grace, and joy. Same thing with operational excellence. Wrote down lots and lots and lots of things that I wanted. And then distilled from that, what is this actually showing? It's showing that all days work and all days play. That's enabled. From that gets enabled for me. Transforming quality of life. What is that for me? And what emerged there for me was living in source, being in my mastery. And, you know, I then processized it in a way that can be replicated, which is what we teach in Living from Source program. When I got to that point where I had made the switch in living from source to living in source to living as source, I then arrived at the miracle aspect of quality of life, where expecting and accepting miracles are my norm. So just know you begin with you, defining extraordinary results in absolute detail, and then distilling from that what, you know, the summary of what all of your vision or thoughts have revealed to you. Distilling it into this very crisp encapsulated piece is important because it's a very important process you go through when you take what you have distilled and tune your body to that. So you create a cellular memory of what yumminess feels like in the context of what you have distilled. So what yumminess feels like. So once I had all these visions of all these different aspects of my life coexisting and stuff. But once I distilled it up to, oh, okay, unprecedented performances, living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist, I tuned my yumminess to that. So take your time. There is no rush. Do not rush it. And even if you went at the slowest speed possible, as long as you did it diligently, consistently, 5 minutes or an hour a day, to really elaborate and establish what this is, it will take you no more than 3 months at the outset. More likely, it will actually get done within 3 weeks in a very powerful way. And from that point on, it's game on. Because the playground on which we are now standing, that is the foundation for the new world, is all about extraordinary results. It is the extraordinary results playground. Now it begins with you. Remember, you've heard me say this many times, everything begins with you and ends with you. Whatever occurs in between is a journey that you're going through, but it's still in every step of the way. The experience begins with you and ends with you. So now when you've completed this for yourself, then you go move your attention to stakeholders. Now, once you get to the stakeholders, first thing to do, take your time with this too. The first thing to do is to distill who are the stakeholders in your life. Who are the stakeholders? Your higher self is one of your stakeholders. Your family is. Your husband, your lover, your children, your siblings. Your community is. Your investors are. People who work for you. Your key partners are. So take your time in really establishing who are your stakeholders. And you will, once you've established a whole collection of all the stakeholders that you have, you can group them into certain categories. And I'm talking about something very, process, mechanical stuff. When it comes to playing a regenerative game in the playing field of extraordinary results, it is important that your mind is with you every step of the way. Your mind is an equal contributor, not the lead contributor, because in spectacular results, mind is running the show. In extraordinary results, mind is an equal contributor. The mind brain is an equal contributor to your heart brain, which keeps you stationed in the now, and your gut brain that keeps you in flow and in the rhythm of the expansiveness that your soul is seeking. So hence, I'm being very, very process-oriented here. And I implement this even today. When I know very well that I can just step out of this kind of mechanics. But I'm here, I'm really conducting myself in this human form. And the mind plays an important role and it's going to come along with me. So the first step when it comes to stakeholders, extraordinary results, who are these stakeholders? And you use your body as a barometer. This commandment literally gets you to master the yum yucky test, the quickest way to know if something is on track or off track. Well, and so, once you've written your stakeholders, just feel that yum yucky thing. Have I got them all? Okay, it still has a little bit of yuckiness, right? Who am I forgetting? And you may be surprised. It may be an ex-partner or an ex-employee or an ex of some kind that you never thought was a stakeholder, but for whatever reason, there's something unrequited there, so they are a stakeholder. To get to a point where there's complete flow and yumminess, you have all your stakeholders and then you group them into certain groups. Now you're going to look at what does operational excellence mean for each of these groups. And it's really important to do it in this sequence. So you've worked on you first, and you're going to start working that. You can literally start implementing what you have done for yourself. Now you're ready and prepared to look at operational excellence for your different stakeholders. Now, the way we operate in the spectacular results realm, we start doing operational excellence. And if that's not happening, we start bulldozing our way to unprecedented performance for our stakeholders well before we come to us, or we'll come to that to ourselves later on. No, there is no later on. There is first. You are the one. You don't exist. Nobody else gets anything. So now that you've worked with you, you're now ready to look at, well, what does operational excellence mean for the different stakeholders? What does operational excellence mean for me? Given that my family thought, my son and his family thought, and my sisters, that I had retired. I was going to live this, magical, mystical life in Bali. And lo and behold, I'm out of there and I'm right at the heart of all days work, all days play. It basically means, mom will be traveling all over the world. There won't be that wonderful villa in the rice fields to go vacation in necessarily, because mom may not be there. So what did operational excellence mean in this new life that I'm going to be leading for my stakeholders as in terms of my sisters and my son? I had to rethink it. Now, once you know what that means, you can actually share that as a communication to them. The unprecedented performance aspect set the context for my communication with my different stakeholders. And being able to communicate how that context is actually going to be realized was fueled from the content that gets provided from the operational excellence part. That's the content part. And then we have the consequence, which is the quality of life. What does quality of life mean for my stakeholders and each of those different categories? This sequencing is really important. I'm really learning to appreciate how nuanced this extraordinary results element is. Unprecedented performance sets the context. Operational excellence provides the content to deliver that context. And the consequence is the quality of life, which can then become a promise that I can make to my different stakeholders. And that becomes what I call as, something that I can declare. You can count on me to deliver this. And that's the quality of life part. Now, once you've done the work on the stakeholders, then you go into the next piece, which is the planet itself. All of this is great, but if we have no planet, then it'll be an unrequited piece. Our soul will be carrying the energy of. And we almost got there. And lo and behold, the planet has shown us its resilience and its decision to transform itself. So what does unprecedented performance look like for our planet? And remember, you are the lead actor or actress in what you are designing as a game of extraordinary results for your life. So in terms of what you are bringing forth, what does unprecedented performance look like in terms of the environment? Now, an environment also includes the environment that you live in. The community that you are in, the environment of the community that you are engaged in, your social dynamics come in here quite in an important way. And of course, it is the planet itself, the environment on our planet. When I look at quality of life, I look at it in a full spectrum way. So I invite you to take this on. When you're looking at quality of life in the realm of extraordinary results, you look at unprecedented performance, in your environment, in a full spectrum way: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, environmental. All of it plays out. What does unprecedented performance look like? What does operational excellence look like? Even something simple as segregating your waste yourself, recycling as much of it yourself, leaving very little to go out. That would be a part of operational excellence in the context of the environment. This is where you also choose whether when you choose to take a stand for something, what is your form of activism, if that's what is called for? Are you going to join marches, protesting against something? Are you actually going to join rallies, sharing what you stand for? And even if it doesn't exist, it doesn't matter. You will cause that to happen. So what does operational excellence look like for the environment? And then you go into what's the consequence of all of this? Like my friend and I came up with blue skies in Mumbai, this quality of life indicator. So it's a body of work that you will take on for yourself. It's a study that you will do, but you're implementing it. In this realm, now here's the thing. In this realm where I'm talking about the 10 Commandments, where unknown is the known, uncertainty is certain, change is constant, take nothing for granted is the modus operandi. And so on. Like there's the way you are going to feel like you are able to remain in your center is by being in movement. So it's saying, okay, right, the next 6 months or next year, I'm going to really focus on defining what does extraordinary results mean like for me. Well, you can, and in this new foundation that is being described to you through the 10 Commandments work that I have been sharing, you are to implement it as you go along. And once your mind understands that it is one of the three that is going to support you to achieve this, it doesn't go crazy anymore. It doesn't hold you back. It plays its part. what this commandment suggests is that you are on the playground of extraordinary results. That's on. It's game on. And the intention of this game of extraordinary results is that these three pieces go together: unprecedented performance, operational excellence, transforming quality of life for yourself, your stakeholders, and the planet. These three things go together. And given that that is the game, that is the intention of the game, you then decide, once you've laid it all out, you then decide, and this is a very important moment of choice, you then decide, what is your role? Are you going to be a player? And you would think, oh, it's of course I'm going to be a player. Well, maybe not. Maybe you'll be a player in unprecedented performance and be a cheerleader when it comes to operational excellence by having a team that you put together. So you ask yourself the question, where am I going to be a player? When I chose this for myself, I began by saying, I'm going to be a player in living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist. And I'm going to be a cheerleader for the fact that all days work and all days play. I'm not going to be a player there yet. And that was fine to operate that way. So you literally start implementing the game philosophy. So you choose where you are going to be a player, where you are going to be a spectator, where you are going to be a cheerleader, and where you are going to build yourself up so you become the coach and a mentor. Now, where you choose to be a player, you proactively go and seek out a really good coach with you. Like Catherine chose to be a player in the realm of miracles, manifesting miracles. She sought me out as her coach and mentor in that. And now she herself is quite an amazing coach. But she declared herself, the game she's playing is to actually become a coach herself in this realm of miracles. So you choose that. Just thinking, planning doesn't actually bring it into fruition in a very real way. In my world, the moment you think it, you anchor it, it's happened. But what if you actually chose that as a way of coming alive? Because otherwise you'll just be living, you'll just be breathing in and out, and it'll just be an experience of life, as opposed to aliveness of living out your life. So choose where you will be a player, where you will be a spectator, where you will be a cheerleader. And where you have chosen to be a player, the first thing you do is find a really good coach. And that coach could be, an online study with a master. Or it could be an actual individual, or it could be several, but you allow yourself to be coachable. And then you play the game. Receive the coaching, perfect it, play the game. Watch yourself. Become your own teacher. Get coaching and keep going. Where you are going to be a spectator, do that in a concerted way. What am I actually, have that spectatorism be an act of observing the nuance. So when I chose this all days work, all days play, I had started living the extraordinary life where all aspects of life coexist. So I was like a role model for myself. So I knew that was all days work, all days play, 24 hours. I would oscillate between feeling really stressed out about that fact, that all day is going to be work, or feeling stressed out about the fact that, oh my God, all day is going to be play, nothing will get done. So I decided to be a spectator for a period of time. And in doing so, I proactively seeked out where this was showing up like this. And I found so many examples in nature. Bees, all days work, all days play. Kingfisher. So many amazing beings and creatures in Australia and Bali that I got to witness and watch. And began with that. I started believing, okay, if they can do it, we can do it too. And I started finding some human examples also, including some people in business. And then there was a point where it was like, okay, I've done my spectating, I'm ready to be a player. And then I started playing the game. Now, once you've made the choice, wherever you're a player, go find a coach, go do it. Where you're being a spectator, work it. Create a segment of time where you are just being a spectator, watching a fabulous game. And notice, celebrate, cheer that which you're noticing as brilliance in action. Because that starts to register in you for when you choose to be a player. If you're going to be a cheerleader, I chose to be a cheerleader for dignity. Well before I actually chose to be a player in this realm of dignity. I didn't understand it first. So the good news is, when I started doing this work, we were not on a playground of extraordinary results. Spectacular results and command and control is what we were operating in. It was much harder. It was so, like every time I would achieve some progress, something would happen, the slate would be wiped off clean and I would start again. Fortunately, I had the 9 years to keep doing it. And I'm seeing the difference. You are all standing on that playground of extraordinary results. Now, here's another very important piece. And then I'm going to open it up for questions because we have some really interesting questions that have come through. At a foundation level, this 9th commandment is saying that the playground of extraordinary results is what is. So if you really want to thrive, you want to ensure that every ounce of whatever effort you put into anything regenerates itself, take it on. It is foundational. It's a playground. Choose to be a player yourself of the game of extraordinary results. Because that's the only game in town. Now, here's the thing with a game. A game is not about win-win. There is a win and there is a lose. However, as a player, each player goes out and plays the best game they can. They are not attached to winning at all costs. What they are a stand for is to play the best game they can. And if they don't win that game, they still congratulate their fellow players. And they still go learn from what they had done better, and so that they can better their game. So literally release that attachment to win-win, or win-lose. It's like, play the game. Someone will win, someone will lose. And either way, your game would have become even stronger than before. So if not this time, another time. That takes that inner spectacular results is all about really being appreciated in a spectacular way for having won the game, in which case there would be people who were rebelling against that, saying, oh, it's all, it's all about win-win. Well, you're actually not playing the game. When you are playing the game, you're there kicking the ball. If you're not playing the game, you're in the realm of blame. You're accumulating a collection of things, subconsciously initially, it might be inadvertent, of stuff that you can blame for why you didn't win. But there is no justification required in the field of extraordinary results. It's like, go out, play the game. And how wonderful to have these three things, unprecedented performance, operational excellence, and transforming quality of life, be furthered in a very powerful way just by you playing the game, whether you win or you don't win. This foundation calls you to be in your dignity, honoring your own worthiness regardless of what the outcome is. And when you are operating from honoring your own worthiness, that's how you relate to others. It's only when you feel that you are not worthy, which is the realm of spectacular results, does that. If you don't achieve spectacular in one area, then suddenly you're not worthy, and you give yourself permission to deplete that in others and the planet itself. That's what we witnessed. And as the planet is recovering and restoring itself, returning to its true nature, let us all step in and make a choice for ourselves to be players in the field of extraordinary results. And it is a foundation. So whether you like it or not, that's the playing field you're in. Choose to play the game. Over to you, Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you, Mynoo. I'm just blown away. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Federation 100, this is the foundation for a big part of the Federation 100, and it's such a gift. I mean, you mentioned, Mynoo, this was a big body of work. This is a lifetime of work. So thank you so much for sharing, and I encourage everyone to replay this over and over. Go on Facebook Live and replay it. I mean, this is a life changer. This really is. So I know I've spent the last couple of years really delving into this very practical body of knowledge that Mynoo shared with us tonight. So thank you. This 9th commandment is a game changer. I can't wait to see what the 10th is. So we have some questions tonight, and I'd like to, the first one's quite fitting. The question is, are some people born with the power to manifest and others have to learn it?
Good one. So are some people born with the power to manifest, or others have to learn it? We are voracious manifestors. Manifestation is akin to choice. So everyone is a born manifester. Manifestation is not a power. You are a born manifester. Literally. And what you manifest is a function of your choice. I mean, just look at a baby. Baby wants to manifest food, it gets food. Wants to manifest playtime, gets playtime. It does what it does. And it does cause it to happen. So what supports you to return to that space where you are a born manifester is this very important word that we use called because. Because. It's actually not a word, it's a sentence. Because. because in your matter, what we did was, very earlier on, we learned because as a word or a phrase, that's about providing some form of justification for why something didn't happen or why something has to occur. It's like as if we have to justify all the time. Became a justification phrase. So you are a born manifester. It's not that you have the power to manifest, you're a born manifester. You just have to claim that back and know that you can do it. Now, there are certain steps that you can follow to get that remembrance back, but it exists in you. There are certain practices that support you to focus what it is that you're manifesting. So you can learn those. And the thing is, because you're a born manifester, you can learn those and implement them very quickly. Operating in the realm of the new world with the 10 commandments, that it's going, whatever you focus your attention on, you're going to regenerate, because that's the foundation. You don't have to even think about it. Regeneration will occur. So if you think it is a power that somebody has and others don't, it is a power that somebody else can give it to you, you will just regenerate that story. The reality is you are a born manifester. You're actually first a born manifester, and then you become a born leader. So manifester is something that happens. I mean, your soul decided it's going to manifest in this human form. And literally, the soul is connected at a vibrational level to all resources. Stuff that you can see in your human form and beyond. Reclaim that power. You are a born manifester. Allow your soul to bring to you whatever it is that you wish, and when you wish it. There are certain practices and steps that you can use.
I love that. So we're now all empowered. We can go out and manifest anything that we choose. We just have to claim it and get yourself a coach. That'll help you get there sooner. I was very fortunate because I had the best of the best. Thank you, Mynoo. So we have another question that has come in, which is, does one need to love him or herself unconditionally before having a chance at a sustainable love relationship?
Yeah, great question. In my world, this before and after, all of that is like just so boring. Do this before you can have something else. You can have it, right? So first of all, it all begins with a desire. Now, if you, in the context of relationships, if you were to look at, have you declared it's an unconditional desiring for something? If you desire a particular type of a relationship, and you desire it unconditionally because you choose, like vanilla chocolate, that's sending out that rocket of desire to the universe, and the universe then delivers it. And it's there. Now, what gets you to experience that relationship is where the love of yourself comes in. Because if you desire this exquisite, enchanting and all of the other adjectives that you may put onto a relationship, you desire it because you choose to, as opposed to because of some other reason. You just desire it because you desire it. What would you feel like if that actually happened? And the first thing is, it's all about, this is a very important nuance of the vibration game. If at a cellular level, you are experiencing the vibration of your desires. They manifest. So when it comes to a relationship that you are seeking outside of you, what will give you that unconditional, unequivocal cellular memory remembrance is your relationship to yourself. You know, and then when you get that cellular memory that's coming from how you are relating to you, this other stuff just happens in a click of a finger, blink of an eye. Even a click of a finger is too long. The blink of an eye, it's there, you know, and we all have experienced it in some area of our life or the other. And I know, Catherine, you've had this very recent experience. Blink of an eye, it's there. You know, that's available to you, but it begins with desire. There's a course that I've developed, by the way, on alchemizing desires. So at some point you'll have access to that through our app. But that's the first piece, desire. That's the catalyst. And have that desire be unconditional. And then go into truly, madly, deeply in love with yourself. And it's there. Over to you, Catherine.
Thank you, Mynoo. You know, the next question, I think we need to hold off on these two because it starts with in the big ball of wax. So I think that's going to be a deep one. And in honor of, it is 6:30 here Pacific time. And I know you always like to close with a special something for us. So I think we will wait on the last two questions and we'll bring those up when we have our 10th commandment next week. So everyone remember, you've got one more chance to ask questions about this. So send those over to me. Most of you have my information, my email. You can find us katpeters@me.com. If there's any question that you want me to answer live, next week we'll be asking that with regards to the 10 commandments or anything at all, really. So Mynoo, I'm going to turn it back over to you so you can guide us on how you would like to close. And thank you all so much for joining. It's always so, we were just talking about, if you missed the very beginning, this incredible community and family that we have. And it's just so spectacular and extraordinary. That's the word we should use.
Thank you. Thank you. And really, you know, we have completed our time for this session. So what I would like to do is to just invite you to anchor the vibe of what we are sharing, the vibe of extraordinary results, in the form of one word that you are present to in the chat. And as you are doing it, Catherine is going to share it and, you know, just literally speak it aloud. And the intention of speaking it aloud is to holographically spread those words across cyberspace. And that's why we like doing it at, you know, on Facebook Live as well. So over to you. You have the chatting stick.
Okay.
Away.
You guys just let it roll here. What a great, incredible evening we've had, and so much practical knowledge too. So if there's anything that you would like to put in the chat box, please do, and I will just read those off to Mynoo. So Vince says so much. Thank you. Empowering through process. Christian says brilliant. Uplifting, Joanne. Lee, looking forward to the fun dance of extraordinary results. Yes. David and Helene, manifesting this amazing group is an extraordinary result. I couldn't agree more. And it's so perfect. Cheryl, good vibrations. That's lovely.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for showing up. More words are coming through.
Linda, extraordinary as always. And Sarah, scrumptious. I love that word, scrumptious. It's just fun to say that word. Mary Catherine, gratitude, hearts. And Kathy Tracy, manifestation, gratitude, and love. Renelle says lovely. And Elaine, whole and complete. What a beautiful way to end.
What a beautiful way to end. Thank you all for being here with us, and we will see you Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is our Beyond Meditation series at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, which is 9 p.m. in India. So do join us there, and we will be back here for the 10th commandment next week. If any of you are interested, we have opened our applications for our Journey into Miracles in January. So do get in touch with Catherine or send us a message on Facebook. Looking forward to seeing you all again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you, Mynoo. I've just got to read these last two words. Yummy, David and Helene again. And then we have Asha, deciding to have extraordinary life in all aspects of my life. Thanks for your guidance. What a beautiful way to end. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Mynoo, for your inspiration.
Thank you, Catherine, for hosting. Thank you.
Pass it along next week. Last one. Invite your friends. 10th commandment. Here we come. We'll see you all next week.
You.